mental health isn't just for the young. It's for all of us, for anyone who has lived, loved, lost, and still hopes for better days. And yet, too often, our emotional well-being is overlooked in our golden years. As we age, we're told to focus on our bones, our hearts, our blood pressure, but what about our hearts in the emotional sense? What about the quiet struggles that can't be seen on a test or X-ray? The truth is, growing older brings with it new chapters, but also new challenges. Grief, loneliness, memory loss, anxiety, they're real, and they deserve real care. But here's the beautiful part: you are not powerless. With understanding, connection, and a few gentle shifts in how we live each day, we can find comfort, purpose, and even joy again. Let's explore the most common mental health challenges older adults face and the hopeful, practical steps we can take to feel better together. 1. Loneliness and isolation. It's one of the quietest forms of suffering, loneliness. After retirement, when the house gets quieter, after friends move or loved ones pass, when getting out isn't as easy as it used to be, the silence can settle deep. And it's not just emotional. Studies show loneliness can raise the risk of heart disease, cognitive decline, and even shorten life expectancy. But here's the thing: you're not meant to go through this season alone. Connection doesn't have to mean big crowds or constant outings. Sometimes, it's the weekly call with your daughter, the neighbor who waves from their porch, the book club at the library, or even talking to someone at the grocery store. Each interaction is a thread that weaves us back into the fabric of belonging. Eleanor, 79, once said, "I used to cry during commercials. I didn't realize I just needed someone to listen." Then she started volunteering at her local church pantry just once a week. "That one afternoon," she said, "reminded me I still matter." And you do. Deeply. Even one small step, a phone call, a card, a walk with a friend, can make the heart feel a little lighter. You were never meant to disappear into the background. This world still needs your voice, your laughter, and your stories. 2. Depression in disguise. Depression doesn't always look like sadness. Sometimes, it looks like sleeping too much or too little. It may feel like losing interest in your favorite shows or skipping meals without realizing. For many older adults, depression slips in quietly, wearing the mask of just getting older. But there's a difference between aging and emotionally aching. The tricky part is that signs of depression in seniors are often mistaken for normal aging or ignored altogether. Feeling tired, forgetful, or unmotivated. It could be more than just slowing down. The good news? Depression is not a normal part of aging, and it's treatable. Take George, 82, from Asheville, North Carolina. After his wife passed, he found himself withdrawing from his morning walks, his crossword puzzles, even from his grandkids. "I thought I was just tired of life," he said. "But really, I was hurting, and I didn't have the words for it." It wasn't until a friend gently suggested he talk to his doctor that he was diagnosed and started therapy. Getting help didn't make me weak, it made me feel alive again. Whether through talk therapy, faith-based support, medication, or lifestyle changes, healing is always possible. You deserve to feel hopeful. You deserve to feel joy. If something doesn't feel right, say something. To your doctor, to a friend, to someone you trust. As the saying goes, asking for help isn't giving up. It's refusing to give up. And you, dear friend, are worth fighting for. 3. Anxiety and excessive worry. Not all storms make noise. For many older adults, anxiety shows up as a quiet, constant hum, worrying about health, finances, family, or even the future of the world. Sometimes it's a racing heart in the middle of the night. Other times, it's that nagging unease that won't let you sit still or sleep well. And too often, it goes unnoticed or brushed aside as just nerves. But persistent anxiety isn't just part of aging. It's a signal from your body and mind asking for care, not judgment. Consider Marie, 76, from Tallahassee, Florida. After retiring, she thought her life would slow down, but her mind didn't. I kept replaying worst-case scenarios in my head. I was exhausted, even though nothing was happening, she shared. With encouragement from her daughter, she spoke with a therapist who introduced her to breathing techniques, gentle meditation, and small daily routines that helped her feel grounded again. The world didn't stop spinning, but I did, she smiled. Whether it's caused by health concerns, changes in routine, or loss of independence, anxiety is real, and there are real solutions. Deep breathing exercises, nature walks, prayer, light physical movement, and professional support can all make a profound difference. Even talking things out with a trusted friend can lift the weight off your chest. As the old saying goes, worry never robs tomorrow of its sorrow, it only saps today of its strength. You've weathered too many storms to let fear run the show now. Peace is possible. One gentle step at a time. 4. Cognitive decline and memory loss. It can start subtly, forgetting where you placed your glasses, searching for a word that's just out of reach, or walking into a room and wondering why you came. These small lapses can spark quiet worry. Is this normal aging, or something more? First, let's be clear, some memory changes are a natural part of aging. Your brain, like the rest of your body, deserves patience and care. But when forgetfulness begins to interfere with daily life, missing appointments, repeating stories, struggling with familiar tasks, it may be a sign of something more serious, such as mild cognitive impairment or early dementia. But here's the truth that brings hope: early awareness and lifestyle choices can make a meaningful difference. Take Leonard, age 80, from Denver, Colorado. After noticing that he was forgetting names more often, he didn't ignore it. He got curious. His doctor encouraged him to start a brain-healthy routine, eating more leafy greens and berries, walking daily, joining a chess group, and keeping a journal. It's not about turning back the clock, he said, it's about keeping the light on. Cognitive health thrives on connection, movement, curiosity, and nutrition. Staying socially active, challenging your brain with puzzles or learning new skills, and following up on regular checkups are powerful tools. And if needed, there are memory care professionals and resources ready to walk this road with you and your family. As the saying goes, a well-used mind does not rust. You are not your memory, you are your presence, your kindness, your stories, and your wisdom. Let's honor that and keep showing up, mindfully and with heart. 5. Grief, loss, and loneliness. Grief is a language the heart speaks fluently in our later years. Whether it's the loss of a spouse, a lifelong friend, your health, or even a sense of purpose after retirement, the weight of absence can settle in quietly and deeply. And too often, society expects us to move on, smile politely, and carry the burden silently. But grief has no timetable. It simply asks to be honored. For many older adults, loneliness becomes a quiet companion, especially after children move away, friends pass on, or physical limitations make getting out more difficult. And loneliness isn't just a feeling, it affects the body as well as the soul. Studies have shown it can increase the risk of heart disease, cognitive decline, and even early death. But here's what matters most: you are not meant to carry your sorrow alone. Look at Margaret, 84, from Asheville, North Carolina. After losing her husband of 57 years, she fell into silence. But one day, her granddaughter invited her to a storytelling circle at a local library. Sharing memories didn't erase the grief, but it gave her space to feel seen, and slowly, connection began to mend the loneliness. "When I speak his name, he feels closer," she said. Joining a grief support group, volunteering, adopting a pet, or simply calling a neighbor for a cup of tea, these small acts of connection can gently bring warmth back into your days. Grief reminds us of the depth of our love. And reaching out reminds us we're still worthy of love in return. There's a quiet strength in acknowledging the ache and still choosing to live with an open heart. As the old Irish proverb says, it is in the shelter of each other that the people live. You are not alone, your feelings are valid, your stories matter, and there is still so much life to be lived, even through the tears. When grief gently settles into the corners of our lives, it can feel like the world has grown quieter, as if life has turned the volume down. But here's the quiet truth: healing often begins with a simple, human moment. A shared cup of tea. A voice on the other end of the line. The kind touch of someone who listens without trying to fix. It's in these small, everyday exchanges that the weight of loneliness begins to lift, just a little. No one can replace the people we've lost or the seasons that have passed, but connection doesn't need to erase grief to ease its edges. It simply needs to remind us that we're still here, and still worthy of love, conversation, and community. That's why the first step toward mental wellness after loss isn't about moving on. It's about gently leaning in, toward others, toward presence, toward life. Because sometimes, the soul doesn't need a solution. It just needs a companion. And that brings us to a powerful truth worth embracing: you don't have to do this alone. The journey back toward light often starts with one kind gesture, one conversation, one small act of reaching out. Let's explore how staying socially engaged, especially in small ways, can become a balm for the heart and a bright light on even the cloudiest days. 1. Stay socially engaged, even in small ways. Human connection is not just a comfort, it's a lifeline. After 65, it's easy to feel like the world is moving too fast, or that you've been quietly left behind. But the truth is, your presence, your laughter, your wisdom, they're needed more than ever. Staying socially connected doesn't mean big events or constant activity. It's the small, steady touches that keep the heart full and the mind sharp. Start with what feels natural. A weekly phone call with a grandchild. A walk with a neighbor. Chatting with the cashier at your local grocery store. These brief moments of connection, though seemingly ordinary, weave threads of purpose and belonging into your days. Consider joining a book club, a gardening group, or a senior center's craft circle, even if just once a month. Online communities and virtual meetups have become wonderful bridges, especially for those who are homebound. Platforms like Get Set Up and local libraries often host free classes or conversations tailored for older adults, all from the comfort of your home. Remember, being socially engaged isn't about how many people you see, it's about the quality of the connection you feel. One good friend. One heartfelt conversation. That can nourish your spirit more than a room full of strangers. As the saying goes, a shared joy is a double joy, a shared sorrow is half a sorrow. Stay open to others. You never know when a smile or a hello might be the very thing someone else, and your own heart, needs most. 2. Talk to someone, and that includes professionals. Sometimes, the heaviest weight we carry is the one we never speak of. And for many older adults, especially those who have been strong for everyone else all their lives, it can feel unnatural, even unnecessary, to open up about sadness, fear, or worry. But here's a quiet truth: talking is not a weakness. It's a release. A relief. A reset. Whether it's confiding in a trusted friend, speaking with a pastor, or having a heart-to-heart with your daughter over tea, sharing what's on your mind lightens the load. Even simply saying out loud, "I've been feeling low lately," can open a door to healing. And if your emotions feel too tangled, too heavy to sort through alone, there's strength in reaching out to a mental health professional. Therapists, counselors, and even support groups offer safe, private spaces to process grief, anxiety, or confusion without judgment. Medicare covers many of these services, and more community clinics are offering free or low-cost options for seniors. If you've lived long enough to face loss, you've lived long enough to deserve healing. Talking to someone trained to listen, to guide, to care, it's not just helpful. It's hopeful. It's like turning a light on in a dark room and realizing there's a path forward after all. As the old proverb says, a problem shared is a problem halved. Your story matters. Your pain matters. And there is always someone willing to listen because you are worth hearing. 3. Build daily routines that anchor the mind. In a world that often feels unpredictable, especially as we age, there's something deeply comforting about a steady rhythm to your day. Routines are not just about schedules, they are anchors for the mind. They offer a sense of stability, control, and peace, gently guiding us from one moment to the next. Think of your daily routine as a soft framework, not a strict schedule. Begin your mornings with intention, perhaps a warm cup of tea enjoyed near a window, a few gentle stretches, or a moment of quiet prayer or gratitude. These seemingly small rituals create a foundation that reminds your mind, I am safe. I am grounded. As the day unfolds, anchoring moments can include a short walk at the same time each afternoon, calling a friend after lunch, or reading a chapter of a favorite book before bed. Even making your bed or watering your plants can be acts of mindfulness that help settle mental fog and ease anxiety. For those navigating memory loss or confusion, routines are especially vital. Familiar patterns help the brain feel more organized and less overwhelmed. They reduce decision fatigue and make daily life feel more manageable. It's never about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing what feels gentle, doable, and consistent. As the saying goes, we are what we repeatedly do. And when we fill our days with kindness, structure, and purpose, the mind begins to soften, settle, and feel held, like a ship guided safely back to shore. 4. Nourish the brain through movement, nutrition, and sleep. Your brain is not just a thinking machine, it's a living part of your body that needs care just like your heart, lungs, or muscles. And one of the most beautiful truths about brain health is this: the simplest, most natural habits can make a powerful difference. Let's start with movement. Gentle exercise, like walking, tai chi, or light stretching, doesn't just strengthen your legs and heart. It actually helps your brain build new connections. It boosts blood flow, lifts your mood, and even improves memory. You don't need a gym. A stroll through your neighborhood, a few dance steps in the kitchen, or gardening in the afternoon sun can awaken your mind and spirit alike. Then, there's nutrition. Foods rich in color, nutrients, and healthy fats are like fuel for the brain. Leafy greens, blueberries, salmon, nuts, and whole grains help fight inflammation and nourish cognitive function. Even staying well hydrated with water and herbal teas can sharpen focus and support emotional balance. And perhaps most importantly, rest. Deep, restorative sleep allows your brain to repair, process, and heal. If you've ever noticed how forgetful or emotional you feel after a poor night's rest, that's your brain asking for better care. A calm bedtime routine, a dark, quiet room, and consistent sleep and wake times can work wonders. When we care for our brain with movement, good food, and proper rest, we're not just preventing decline, we're planting seeds of clarity, joy, and mental resilience. It's not about reversing the years, but about enriching the days ahead with a vibrant mind and a peaceful heart. 5. Spiritual practice, mindfulness, and gratitude. As we journey through the later seasons of life, one of the most healing and grounding tools we can lean on is the quiet strength of the spirit. Mental health isn't just about the brain, it's also about the heart and soul. And nourishing the spirit can bring peace, perspective, and even joy in the midst of life's challenges. Spiritual practice looks different for everyone. For some, it's prayer or scripture. For others, it's a quiet walk in nature, lighting a candle with intention, or simply sitting in stillness with a grateful heart. What matters is that it brings you back to something greater than yourself, something that reminds you that you are never truly alone. Mindfulness, too, is a gentle but powerful way to anchor your mind. It doesn't require perfect silence or meditation cushions. It might be sipping your morning tea with full attention, noticing the warmth of the sun on your face, or listening, really listening, to your grandchild's voice. These small moments of presence have been shown to reduce anxiety, slow racing thoughts, and improve emotional well-being. Gratitude is the heart's memory. Writing down just 3 things you're thankful for each day, whether it's a cozy blanket, a phone call from an old friend, or the scent of fresh rain, can shift your mind from fear to fullness. As the old saying goes, it is not joy that makes us grateful, but gratitude that makes us joyful. Spirituality, mindfulness, and gratitude don't erase the hard things, but they soften them. They remind us that even in grief, even in confusion, life still offers beauty, and peace is always just a breath away. As we close this tender conversation about mental health in later life, let's pause to honor a truth too often left unsaid: you are not alone. Not in your grief, not in your worry, not in those quiet, restless moments that come late at night. Millions of elders across the country, across generations, have felt what you're feeling. And that shared experience does not make you weak, it makes you deeply human. Mental health is not something to be ashamed of. It is not a failure or a flaw. It's a part of our wholeness, just as natural as our physical health. The same way we care for our hearts, our joints, our vision, we must care for our emotional well-being. Reaching out for help or simply acknowledging what we're going through isn't weakness, it's courage. It's choosing to live fully, not silently. And aging? It is not the end of joy. In many ways, it can be the beginning of a deeper kind of living. With each passing year, we gain not just age, but perspective. We trade urgency for clarity, noise for stillness, and approval for authenticity. This season of life can be the richest yet, not in material things, but in the quiet beauty of presence, connection, and inner peace. You still have so much to give, and so much to receive. Whether it's laughter, love, wisdom, or rest, none of it is behind you. It's right here. And you are worthy of every moment of it. Final thoughts. If there's one thing we hope you take from this video, it's this: your mental well-being matters deeply. Just as you've weathered storms in the past, you have the strength to face what's ahead with grace, resilience, and support. The challenges that come with aging, grief, anxiety, loneliness, or memory loss are real, but they are not the end of your story. They are simply part of a new chapter, one that can be filled with healing, clarity, purpose, and surprising moments of joy. No matter what you're facing, you don't have to go through it alone. Small changes, like connecting with a friend, starting a morning routine, or simply stepping outside for fresh air, can make a world of difference. Seek support when you need it. Share how you feel. And remember, taking care of your mind is one of the most loving things you can do for yourself and for the people who love you. If this message touched you in some way, or reminded you that your feelings are valid, we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and let us know what resonated with you most. Your words may just encourage someone else, too. And if you found this video helpful, please consider supporting our channel by clicking the subscribe button and turning on the notification bell. That way, you won't miss future videos made just for you, with heart, with care, and with your well-being in mind. Together, we can build a community where wisdom is honored, vulnerability is welcomed, and no elder walks their journey alone. Thank you for being here. You are seen, you are valued, and you are never forgotten.